can listen to us.
If you want to pull out an ad on a show, just email us at the CouncilCast.
CouncilCast@gmail.com.
Is that what it is?
That's really what it is.
Wow.
Or submit a Patreon.
.co.uk.
Is it CouncilCast or the CouncilCast?
I think it's just CouncilCast.
Let's start a Patreon page.
.jp.
JP. Anyway, welcome to CouncilCast. This is episode 49, being recorded on July 24th, 2018. The council is now in session, and as with every week, we'll make arbitrary decisions about topics on science, technology, and random shit with little background and next to no expertise. All of our decisions are final and have no bearing on anything whatsoever.
Yes.
So I know this is only episode 49, but I'm learning that it's good to plan ahead, like way ahead. So what are we going to do for episode 100?
500.
No,
100.
Not quite that far, but 100.
Episode 100, I think, should be a live show. We should rent out.
Oh, I see. I was like, we do this live, Silas.
I mean, like live in front of a live audience, live. Like we'll have
be in the same studio.
We should save up a shitload of cash.
Yeah.
You know what? When I sell my house, I will rent out Hilton for the day.
Yeah.
I think it costs about $10,000.
Okay.
We've definitely made that.
Oh my god, that would be ridiculous.
We could also get a bunch of guests to come on board, celebrity guests.
Oh yeah, celebrity guests.
We could probably have Elon. I mean, we have a whole segment for him.
There's like
we do.
Foam fingers at the entrance. It's like one. It doesn't say CouncilCast. There's foam fingers for each of us, and the people get to choose which foam fingers they want to have. It's like Silas or Matt or Blaine.
I love that.
Yeah,
that'd be great. And we should have foam fingers for all the other people who don't show up, but weekly to the podcast.
No, they don't get foam fingers.
Well, there are foam fingers, but like no one will know who they are. And so then they'll be like, wait,
Anthony just has a pumpkin on it.
Yeah, who's Anthony? This is a pumpkin. And then we'll be like, whoever holds up the finger gets to be the new Anthony, and they just automatically get invited onto the show.
I do like the idea of I feel this is going the way of very Eric Andre for the live. Have you ever watched Eric Andre's thing?
Eric Andre, the giant?
No, that's different. Like of Tim and Eric, like the talk show guy that has people on, and like he'll be like naked and smash his drywall desk or whatever.
Yeah.
He has a drywall desk.
It's made out of like drywall to be really soft and stuff, so he gets.
So he can just smash it.
Yeah. Oh.
And like, there's an episode where he rips the top off the desk, and like the rest of it falls away, and inside is like smaller versions of the people that are at like little people versions of the people that are currently there at the episode. So like it's like a miniature they're being interviewed inside the desk.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, so I think a live show, definitely, like a live in front of an audience. And I think all 5 of our listeners, I like that you're listening right now, and we'd love for all of you to come. We'll rent out the Hilton.
We're not going to do that. We don't have that kind of money.
Okay, well, we'll rent out
we might by episode.
We'll rent out a hotel room at the Hilton.
I mean it will be really nepotistic, and you guys can rent out my basement.
Okay, perfect.
And you get a cut.
We get a cut of the money that we pay you? Hey, that sounds like a great deal.
Think of it as a discount.
We'll split it 3 ways. I like it.
Everybody pays in, and you'll make 33% at the end.
But the cash has to be exchanged, or it doesn't count.
We'll actually put the cash on the desk in front of us during the podcast, so everybody knows what happened.
Like I'll pay you, Blaine, and Blaine, you pay Matt, and Matt pays me.
Perfect. I think that makes sense.
I think we figured it out.
Done.
Speaking of figuring things out. I didn't know where to go from there because I didn't know the first topic.
I'm not sure where you were headed either. Figuring things out, maybe we went back to the future, and
that's how we figured it out.
And that's how we figured it out that we are going to be at 100 episodes pretty soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's only
well. How did we get back to the future?
51 more episodes.
How did we get back to the future?
Maybe whoever came back to steal this plutonium is us 50 episodes from now.
Oh,
Segue, man.
Nice. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I think this sounds like it's straight out of Back to the Future. The Department of Energy lost some plutonium, just in their car. They lost it.
Seems
in a
like
hotel.
Like, is it under one of the seat cushions or something?
Is this worse or better than in Minot, North Dakota, there was a 50. I think it was a machine gun went missing, local, and I believe that's also the same place that either one or two grenades also went missing.
I mean, I would say this is probably worse than that.
Okay. As far as I'm aware, the machine gun was found. My sister sent me that message. I don't remember exactly what the deal was, though.
What would an average person do with plutonium? Like, what would I do with plutonium?
Sell
I
it.
mean, you could sell it. They did say they lost apparently 1 pound of plutonium and 45 pounds of highly enriched uranium, which is apparently enough material to make 5 nuclear bombs.
Oh my goodness! Of what yield? I know it matters.
Comparable energy to those used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So I mean, small ones.
I mean, relative to the stuff we can make now, those are pretty small.
Well, what if they just made one big one out of all, rather than 5 of them?
I mean, sure.
Bada big boom.
Bada big boom. Big bada boom. Boom.
I mean, I wondered, they talk about how this got stolen, and apparently it just somebody smashed this car window and took the plutonium, and I wonder if they just...
You think they just took it not knowing what it was?
That's what I'm wondering.
Or was this a straight up state level hit?
I don't know. I mean,
I think either is amazing in its own way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna write the movie about that.
Oh, I was just gonna say this would be a great movie starring Jonah Hill and someone else. Except they're the ones that lost it and they got to get it back.
Oh, 24 Jump Street.
Can we put The Rock in this movie?
This is the plot for 24 Jump Street. It's like they're the cops that see it get taken or some shit. They were hired to transport it, and they fuck up.
But they have to get it back because they're not to redeem themselves, and they'll get awards from the president and stuff for basically screwing up and then rectifying their screw up.
I mean, do they also need it to go Back to the Future? Is that part of it too?
That'll be 25 Jump Street.
25. I think
How many Jump Streets are there?
There are only 2 right now. They're not making any more. I don't think they'll make any more because, the end of 23 Jump Street was them spoofing on the fact that they.
You mean 22? Did they make 3?
Oh no, 21, 22. You're right. At the end of 22, they started doing all these movie posters during the credits for 23, 24, 47, 95. Just a long slew of ridiculous titles. I haven't even
seen the second one. I really liked the first one.
I saw the second one in Spanish on a bus in Mexico.
Oi.
It was not as confusing as I thought it was going to be, but I definitely missed some jokes. Anyway.
Apparently they are making a 23 Jump Street, by the way.
Nice.
Well, then ours is the plot of 24 Jump Street.
Obviously.
We have to submit the script. It's yet to be written.
Well, I'm going to give these guys a thumbs down for putting our country at risk, but thumbs up for creating an amazing plotline for 24 Jump Street.
Yeah, I think I'm right there as well. I think it's terrifying that it was stolen. Although it does probably it's probably highly likely that somebody was just stealing shit and didn't know what the fuck they were after. So.
I don't know if that's scarier or not than somebody who
I don't know.
picked it up knowing what it was, because now that just means some plutonium and uranium is just hanging around somewhere.
Is it?
Sure, it's fine.
If it's just hanging out, what is it going to Can it explode on its own?
No, but on its own, plutonium is carcinogenic. So it's gonna give you cancer.
But like
We'll
only in
find
the
out.
media
If
area.
they take it out of the thing, if they take it out of it and they're like, "Hey, let's play with this."
I mean,
it's jelly.
how clearly marked is the container? I would imagine it's got those little radiology
I mean,
symbols.
you know how dumb people are.
Or
Yep.
radioactive symbols all over.
I do know how dumb people are.
Yeah,
I
the
mean-
people are probably like, "Oh man, whatever's in here is recyclable."
I mean, what if a kid picked it up? They don't know what it
Yeah.
means.
Yep.
I give them a thumbs down for being pretty dumb.
Yeah. The people who lost it and the people who stole it.
To both of them,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah, I assume they weren't supposed to leave that sucker in the car.
I don't know. You would think that would be something you would probably want to like sleep with.
They
But maybe the motel had a no uranium policy.
Yeah, it's
they
possible.
when they were building the first atomic bomb at Iowa State or doing the research for it,
That definitely wasn't built at Iowa State.
they would I don't know why I'm doing this. They would handcuff their hand to the briefcase carrying those elements across campus.
You
So
know,
that-
they just demolished Nuki, like within the last couple of years. They demolished that building finally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where some of the computer engineering office stuff
Oh
was.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they knocked it down.
Isn't that where they built the new chemical building?
I don't remember. You mean what's the new chemical building? Like the replacement for
I don't know.
what was the chemistry building?
No, not a replacement for that building. No.
What's the name of that building?
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know.
Help me.
Um,
I can't remember the name of that building.
Are you gonna look it up now?
check it out.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Figure it out.
This color X-ray looks pretty cool.
Gilman.
Well, you know what they could probably do with the leftover plutonium is probably develop color X-rays. I wonder if these stories are linked together. Somebody lost the
wonder.
plutonium, and then somebody invented color X-rays. I'm
No,
pretty
Overnight.
just by pure happenstance.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm curious how good this actually is. Like the video shows it looks pretty cool, but I know some people who could design that in After Effects, and they could just be BSing us 100%.
I mean, I think it's kind of a cool idea. I'm just not really sure. I mean, is color X-rays really necessary?
3D X-rays would be super necessary.
I mean, I get
color
the 3D
part,
part of
maybe.
it, color.
Well, TV was in color 50 years ago.
Wait a minute, isn't a 3D X-ray just a CAT scan?
More or less.
I thought, or an MRI.
The CAT scan's more 3D, I think, than MRA, isn't it?
I have no idea.
But these are high resolution images, and still those things are kind of like, I think that's the pancreas. And they're like, sorry, that's your liver. It's easy to get those two confused, so I don't know why I gave that as an example. But
I want to know how the heck did they figure out the color, though? Like, of something inside of me. How do they know what that color is?
I don't know. I mean,
They just color it after the fact.
think about LiDAR, though, about the way that they're able to use LiDAR to scan and find buildings and depth that way.
But is that doing color?
I mean, yeah, it's a full 3D. LiDAR is full 3D color also. It's probably just LiDAR.
It's probably just LiDAR.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm totally for the idea of being able to accurately diagnose things better. And if color helps doctors diagnose things better, cool. Let's give them color 3D scanners. It's just something else that insurance is going to bill out the wazoo. Well, you didn't really need that color 3D X-ray in full HD.
Yeah, that costs $4,000 to have made.
You can have it exported as at 4K 3D, and you don't even have to wear glasses because we have 4K 3D screens telling you what that your femur's broken. Like,
Hey, so this is pretty cool. They do say that apparently it uses particle tracking technology, which was developed for the Large Hadron Collider.
Oh, really?
So that's pretty cool. I mean, that must mean that it's better.
So how do they fit the whole hydron in the hospital?
That's a good question.
Well, you're gonna have to make hospitals bigger, I guess.
Must be. I mean, maybe they siphon it off. They do it through black holes.
They create a black hole that sucks your body inside of it and spits out a 3D image.
Yep.
That's how black holes work.
This is a pretty sweet technology going on here.
I mean, I like it a lot. I just wish that the thing that always frustrates me about about advancements in medicine is that it's not going to be advancements for everyone. It's going to benefit only the super like this. They're not going to do this. Is not going to be at every clinic. It might be at Mayo Clinic, and that's it. Like, it's going to be in 3 hospitals across the country. It's going to get used a handful of times, and if they really spent like, rather than holding on to the rights and trying to sell it as a really rather than trying to make a ton of money off of each one, changing it to something that's more affordable across the board and putting it in more hospitals would mean that people could be diagnosed better. I just don't. I don't know. We spend so much money on the military that, you know, if the government was like, oh yeah, well, let's just put these in hospital, like, I don't know. You know what? I don't know. It's cool.
They don't talk about how much the whole thing costs, and I like you to say, I'm imagining that it's rather expensive. So I'm curious to see where it goes, because I like the idea that you can do the 3D imaging. And so, I mean, more power to them. But too expensive, so thumbs down.
Yeah, I will give it a thumbs up for ingenuity. Think about, though, if you had HoloLens hooked up to this, and then you could take the body part out, and you could rotate it around, and you could pull the spine apart, and you could really zoom in all that 4K goodness. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Put the HoloLens on yourself after you did the scan, and you could like pull it out of your body.
What if you could use the HoloLens to fix the broken bone?
Yes.
That is what.
With LiDAR.
With LiDAR, that's what I want to. That's what I want to see.
This is a lot better than that Skelegrove from Harry Potter.
What? The Skelegrove?
Yeah.
Where was it? What episode was that?
Harry Potter? Didn't have episodes.
The book?
Is that where they grew the skeleton, or is that after they got rid of person's skeleton?
Especially if you can see family in the
process.
And whether or not that includes you guys, but
get off the phone.
Thanks. Jeez. Thank you.
I thought I was supposed to eat up food.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
It was an oversight.
Why not?
Well, yeah, I'm still giving it a thumbs up.
Oh yeah, thumbs up.
So if you thought that buying a new X-ray machine to do 3D scans was expensive, maybe buying your ticket to go to space isn't so expensive.
No, this is pretty affordable compared to that 4K 3D X-ray machine.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, Blue Origin has said that they are going to start their manned flights, costing about $200K per ticket. So if you want to go to space, you can do it now, I guess.
How long does it take? Like, how long does the flight? Like is it like a 30-second? Like, you get up there, you fly around for 15 minutes, and you're like, woo, hot damn, that was fun, 200,000.
I don't think it's more than 30 seconds, but I don't think it's more than 30 minutes.
No, not worth it.
I mean, just wait for that cost to come down.
100,000, then I'll do it.
I'll let you read between the lines of my words.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Getting paid. Wow. Maybe you should pay $200K to go on a space flight now.
You know, I think it'd be fun. Does it require does it create zero gravity, like all that good stuff?
We're gonna
Yeah,
email us here.
it's supposed to. So the idea being that it goes up into low Earth orbit. What they say about 62 miles above the surface, and enough where you can kind of
If we are going to that wedding, if we want to go down 2 weekends in a row.
hopefully strap back in before you come back to Earth, I would assume.
Oh man, I hope they have some barf bags.
Now those cost extra.
Okay. We'll make a decision.
Probably.
Just call me
I hope that there's like an
after.
in-flight movie or something. Here, I'm in outer space and I'm like wanting to watch a movie.
Just call me
Well,
after.
You look out the window and you're like, yeah. I
That's
can't
cool.
really see anything.
How's Rudy doing? I want to watch that.
Yeah. Haven't seen Rudy in a long time.
I don't think it's worth those ones up at the top.
I mean, the back of the flight. Rudy, Rudy, Rudy. The pilot's like, shut up.
I give it a thumbs up because I think it's pretty cool. I'd like to go to space. I just don't want to pay $200,000 to do it.
Thumbs up. I've got to find my 200 bones.
I mean, maybe it'll be cheaper if they started launching from Scotland instead. I mean, certainly would be more exciting, I think.
There are a lot of exciting things in Scotland, aren't there?
There are, and the UK now wants to build their first spaceport in Scotland.
Well, it's a good place to do it from. It's closer to the top of the globe, so it's actually closer to outer space.
That makes sense. I believe that.
I'm not sure that's how space works.
It is. You're dumb.
I mean, if that's the case, then we should probably build the next spaceport on top of Mount Everest.
That is a good option. How do you get the rocket up there? Oh, you fly it up there.
Fly
Never
it
mind.
up there, duh.
You know, could you do me the
two-stage rocket?
I'm gonna have
Everest to space.
I'm gonna
Pretty
have
sure that's what it
I'm gonna have Anthony do me the or you do the costs on how much less fuel you'd have to use from 30,000 feet rather than launching at sea level. Would it be substantial?
Probably not.
Really?
I mean, to Silas's question is, how much is it going to cost you to get the damn rocket to 30,000 feet?
We're excluding that part.
I went to school for a couple of hours and then got back. I was just like, I tried to
Yeah,
do a few different
I think it would cost a lot less.
Basically,
You know?
my question is does being able to launch from 30,000 feet higher up make that much difference in the total fuel cost to put something into, I don't know, any given orbit?
So, I mean, it might save you some, actually, because typically, well, I just looked up the max Q altitude, and typical max Q
just being in
altitude
your
is
house ruins.
45,000 feet. So, I mean, I guess you're actually at about 30,000. You're over halfway there. But I don't know if your max
I think
Q
last season
would
I did mine.
change.
Oh yeah,
Could
I've already seen
I
of
don't know.
this season. I've already seen two.
Silas needs to mute himself so badly.
It's hilarious.
Wait, is it my bowl or is it Kayla?
It's Kayla.
Oh.
Amazing. So anyway, remind our esteemed viewers what max Q is. I mean, I already know, but they should know as well.
Max Q would be the point where your spacecraft is under the most amount of atmospheric pressure.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
So, I mean, I would assume that altitude really is going to be about the same regardless of where you're starting from, because you have to deal with atmosphere, and atmosphere lessens the higher you go.
Right.
So, I mean, I suppose you could save some.
You said max Q is like 45,000 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, you could. I mean, if you want to go to even here, you can make it even easier. Launch from a hot air balloon. Float your hot air balloon to 45,000 feet. Now you don't have to worry about climbing to the top of Everest.
If you want to save money, just get a bunch of helium balloons, because renting a hot air balloon is expensive. But you can buy helium balloons for pretty cheap, especially if you get them on the black market.
Like high enough did it.
I'm pretty sure that guy flew around the world with a helium balloon, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a thing.
That was horrifying.
The week of October 15th.
What is the altitude of Mount Everest? It is 30,000 feet. Okay.
It's like 29 something, right?
Close enough, yeah. Close enough. So I mean, obviously Scotland is going to have their own spaceport, I guess, and start launching in 2020. So
That'd be awesome.
I mean,
What they're
I'm thumbs up for more spaceports.
I'm thumbs up for more Scotland.
I mean, I hope that they power the rockets with scotch so that I can drink it.
They're just they're peat fired rockets.
Peat-fired rockets. I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
We got like a long weekend over Easter.
Well, that's probably why they're doing it.
Snow days.
I mean, they have an abundance of peat right now, so they can just afford to throw it into a rocket and burn it, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's going to make the whole country smell like smoke, I bet.
Amazing.
You know what doesn't smell like smoke is a Nintendo Switch when it doesn't burn up.
What?
Shit.
If you wanted to, Nintendo had recently been hacked. I think we talked about it on an episode a while ago, the Nintendo Switch. And it was something that was actually inherent into the NVIDIA Tegra chips that were powering them. And it turns out that Nintendo has now patched it with a hardware change to the Switches. So if you still want to be able to buy a Switch that you can hack and possibly have the magic smoke come out of it, you better go buy one now, because it won't be around much longer.
I think I'm just going to put
Yeah.
this first.
This is weird.
So then we'll have like.
Why do people
5.
like? I'm always like, how can I play my game better? How can I edit video faster? But I'm always curious. Why do people like go? How can I hack this so that it blows up?
I mean, people are always going to do that because people like to figure out how shit works.
Do they? Or do they like to figure out how to blow up stuff? I think it's more related to destruction rather than education.
So I'm not super inclined to try to save it.
Maybe.
I don't know. We should poll. We're going to set out a poll for all of our listeners. Would you rather destroy something or learn something? Write us at councilcast.org
Or
.com.
Or
Gmail.
comment on the YouTube post and thumbs up if you vote yes and thumbs down if you vote no.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Sure.
Any interaction on YouTube would be great.
Same job.
And finally, the
Wait, I'm going to vote on it.
oh yeah,
I like that the Nintendos are blowing up.
I vote thumbs down. Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, by their definition, it was broke, so they fixed it.
Not my definition of broke.
Hashtag not my broke.
You know what's not broke is apparently the full Adobe suite coming to the iPad. I actually put this on here because I know Silas had talked about using Adobe and Photoshop, and apparently they're going to actually create a full version and see if he would actually want to use it on an iPad or not.
Oh my.
Yeah, they're sending it over for us to test out for next episode, so I'll have to let you guys know. Thanks to our sponsor, Adobe Photoshop.
Who is not a sponsor.
No.
Thanks to our sponsor, not Adobe.
It's the full suite or just Photoshop? Photoshop.
Just Photoshop, but they're apparently saying that it's going to be able to be the full version, and I'm not 100% sure how they can do that.
That makes sense to me that they would try to do that because of the new Apple Pen, Apple Pencil or whatever they're calling it.
That's been out for like 3 years.
Right. But they are finally confident enough that it can work. And a lot of people have been using it for Lightroom. There's like a full version of Lightroom that you can use on your iPad. And so a lot of people will edit on their iPad with the pencil. And I could see that being really, really, really useful with a full version of Photoshop. They already have a mobile version of Photoshop that is pretty good. If you're looking to do simple things, like one time I was able to cut out around someone, copy it and paste it over. And so I had two of the same person that I did on my phone. And that was not a full version. So if they're able to figure that out, they'll be able to figure out a full version. I mean, you won't be able to do massive file sizes because it just won't be able to keep up. But if you're doing simple things, you can do a full version of a Photoshop project. So
you would say that you would actually use this product?
If my wife would let me buy an iPad, I definitely would use this product.
You don't have any concerns about being slow as long as you're doing simple stuff, though?
I mean, you have to go into it expecting that it's not going to be able to keep up with.
I mean, I would expect, though, people are probably going to jump into it saying, oh, look, it's the full version, and then be pissed because it can't do what they want it to do.
Right, but people also steal uranium out of the back of trucks, so you can't trust them. No, I think it's a good step forward because there are times that working on a Photoshop project while you're traveling for business or something. So you're flying, you want to do it, you're riding in the car, you're taking public transportation, you want to be able to edit. And Photoshop is so much about using the pen to be able to, people will buy Wacom tablets, hook it up to the computer,
True,
and do that. So this is just cutting out the middleman.
So my only question is, how do you get your files, how do you get your photos to and from the iPad? Can you plug a computer or your camera into iPads now? Is that a thing? Do you have to get your pictures from iCloud? You have to plug the iPad into your desktop?
That doesn't have to be every kid.
I don't know. What do you do, Matt?
Like maybe
being abducted.
Perfect and structured rules and
that's incredible. Yeah, no, you have to. So with Photoshop, you need to take. They also have inside the Adobe Creative Suite a plugin that is their own cloud version. So
he's really okay most of the time.
It's their own internal cloud storage. So you can take a picture with your phone, upload it to their Adobe Cloud. You could go right into this. You could pull assets in from Adobe Cloud.
Oh, okay.
So you're working on something on your desktop, you save it to Adobe Cloud, go to your iPad, continue working on it, save it.
It just goes back up there.
It just goes right back up there. So, I mean, they've thought about a lot of it, but yeah, I mean, the big thing is, are you going to be able to do full, real, big projects?
I'm so excited to go visit.
And
gotcha.
No is the answer. Like, you are not going to be able to, like, I recently was working on 360 photos that were taken with a 42 megapixel camera. And I had,
Like, what did you really go here?
2, 3, 4, like 5 or 6 photos that were each 42 megapixels and just massive images that I had stitched together. And I'm not perfect with Photoshop, but it said that the file size was too large for me to save. I would stitch it together. I would do all of my edits. I would go to try and save the Photoshop file and would say, sorry, this file is too large. You can't do this. So I would have to export that photo. And if I wanted to change anything on it, then later I had to go, I just went and did an edit off of the exported version, which means that there was some quality loss, but it was such a massive photo to begin with that it wasn't that much quality loss. So,
I mean, I think it's a good idea to that point, knowing that you can sync stuff through the cloud. I mean, I can imagine a lot of photographers probably using this where they go shoot a whole bunch of pictures, drop them onto their computers, sync them up to the cloud, do some edits, and then maybe they're out and about with the client or something showing them pictures and they can just do some quick touch-ups or something like that.
Right, exactly.
So.
Just some basic.
Huh. Well, I want to give you a thumbs up. I think that sounds pretty cool, actually.
Nice job, Photoshop.
Yeah. Our classroom's fun. I'll have to take you there.
Now, if only they can make it cheaper.
Well, first of all, it's ginormous.
Oh, yeah.
But it's
absolutely.
a ginormous
That's not going to happen.
Which is kind of weird. Most of the other classrooms
Definitely not. It's probably going to go up if they add this to
so
the
it lends
version.
itself more to being like, oh, like one teacher's on this.
It's already like $50 a month, but whatever.
It's expensive, but you know, that's okay. That's what we're here to do as the council and
Mhm.
make decisions on it. So, you know,
We did a good job of that today.
with that, we're going to call this council meeting adjourned. And if you like what you saw and want to check out all of our past episodes, you can go to thecouncilcast.org or check out all of our previous episodes on your favorite podcatcher. We also record it live on YouTube. And if you want to find the iTunes, go to iTunes. They're there. Go enjoy them. If you have a topic you'd like the council's decision on, you can email us at thecouncilcast@gmail.com or connect with us on Twitter at thecouncilcast or on Facebook by searching for the CouncilCast. Thanks for listening and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.